Hey everybody, Kris here, and this is Ready to Die Fighting. Today I'm going to be talking about my humidifier. As you probably know by now, I really like clean, pure, humid air in my house. I've talked about why at length, so I'm not going to go into it today. I'm just going to get right into the filter here, the humidifier here. I was going to change the filter in it, and I decided this might be a good thing to record, so let's go ahead and do that. This is the Air Care E9, I think it's E9800, E9800, I believe is the model number. And, you know, I don't remember all the specs on it, but it's a whole home humidifier. You set it near a return vent, and the vents here that blow air out, humid air out, point downward. And so the idea is you place it next to your return and it will go through your central air system and moisturize the whole house. It does seem to work. I have a small hygrometer, I think that's what it's called, a hygrometer, that measures the temperature and the humidity in the room, and I put that on the opposite side of the house. So this is the front of the house in my dining room. I keep the other one in my bedroom, so it's in the as opposite sides as I possibly could. And the readings are usually pretty comparable to each other from this digital display to the hygrometer in there. So it leads me to believe it works. I also noticed that since I've gotten this humidifier, I normally get really bad stuffy nasal stuff and sore throats, and that has been significantly improved. So I'm really happy with this. Where are we at right now? So I normally have this set right around 45 currently. When I first got it, it was a lot colder. It was in December, I think, and I used to keep it around 55. I've noticed as it's gotten warmer, I need to keep it lower because I'm starting to get condensation on the windows, so I had to drop the humidity down a bit. We got 3 buttons here and a little digital display. The top button here has what looks like to be a fan, and that adjusts your fan speed. The second one has some water drops, and that adjusts your humidity levels. And the last has that power button symbol, and that's your power, so you can turn it off and on. You have to cycle through, so that's kind of annoying, but seeing how it's a single button operation, not too bad, and it's not something that I play with very often. And then there's a little door here that you can use, and you have to use a extra little funnel piece to add water to refill. I forget how many gallons it holds. I would say roughly 3.5 gallons, roughly. And I probably refill it once every couple days. Maybe I try to check it every night to make sure it's full. But I think I refill maybe every 2 to 3 days, somewhere around there. So let's get to this. I already took the old filter out yesterday, and it was pretty nasty looking. Not so much nasty with mold, but my water is very harsh. There's a lot of minerals in it. There more than likely is lead, a lot of deposits, and so I think this filter takes a lot of abuse, more so than it would maybe in other areas. It comes with the assembly on this is very basic out of the box. It comes with this, I guess you could call it like the filter holder, I suppose. And then there's the, I don't know, I'd call this like maybe a basin that holds the water. And then this is the main unit with the fan. So I'm just going to turn this off for right now. Now, when you have standing water, there's definitely the possibility of algae buildup and bacteria and things like that because it's standing water, and that's something that could happen. I haven't noticed that, but the instructions recommend that every time you change the filter or so to really clean it out really good to make sure that everything's on the up and up. And since I'm so concerned with clean air, it doesn't make sense to me to sit here and let stagnant water develop mold and algae and then blow that into the air that I breathe. That is counterproductive. So something that I use typically, and I'm just gonna slide over here, is this bacteriostatic. I pour a little bit in the water every time I refill, and that's probably, at least in part, what's helping me keep the water nice and clean. Because like I said, I've noticed no smells. I haven't seen any green or anything like that. However, the water is hard and it's very rusty, and so I noticed like kind of rust deposits in other places in the house where there's water that may be dripping, or like in my dish pan, it's a plastic dish pan, but as the, you know, water kind of turns it a little bit orange, and so I've noticed that same orange color in the filters. And so I picked this up yesterday when I bought the new, or actually it's called a Wick, not a filter. And this supposedly is a bacteriostatic and water treatment combination. And that's supposed to help control mineral and lime scale buildup. Using all wick and filter type humidifiers, also inhibits the growth of odor causing bacteria. So since this seems to work, I'm gonna hope that this will also work. So we're gonna add that this time around. And before I refill this with water to breathe and with the new wick, I'm gonna just clean this basin out with, and I can see a little bit of a kind of scaly, it looks like, yeah, dried up water. I'm gonna just clean it with a little bit of bleach just to make sure we kill anything that might be festering there. I don't believe it's an issue, but that's what we're gonna do. And then this is the wick. This is model 1043 Super Wick. It's compatible with a few different models. And the Wick humidifiers is my preference because this isn't, what basically you stick this guy into the basin, it soaks up or wicks up the water, and then there's a fan in here and it blows and the water evaporates into the air, leaving any residue in the wick. And I think that's just a cleaner way to go. I've read about the cool mist humidifiers, and I believe they pulverize the water and turn it into like a fine mist and blow that into the air, but then it's also pulverizing whatever's in the water. So supposedly we're just getting nice, clean, pure water into the air, and that's what I prefer. And it's definitely cool. The hot air isn't coming out of here, so that'll be great. In the summer I probably don't want it, but I don't know, neutral air seems like a better idea than hot air. It says it outperforms competitors up to 298% at 90 days. I don't think that this is lasting 90 days for me. I really don't. I think I'm replacing these probably maybe a month and a half. So I'm about half that. Like I said, I've got really rough water. It says that this wick features Trop Max filter technology, antimicrobial protection, and is the highest capacity output. Yeah, so. It says replace at least once per season or more often under hard water conditions. Use recommended replacement filter. So you get one per box. These cost about $20 at the Lowe's is where I picked it up. I don't remember the cost of the unit itself. I want to say, I don't think I paid more than $200 though, but I'm not sure. But I'm just going to add some water here. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm going to put a few drops of bleach, and you got to be careful because bleach can damage plastics as well. And I don't know what type of plastic this is. Maybe a polyethylene, perhaps. But there we go. And I'm just gonna kind of let it sit there. I'm gonna wipe down the sides and the corners where the water's not exactly sitting in it. Smells nice and bleachy. Yum, yum, yum. Maybe yum is, I probably shouldn't say yum about the smell of bleach. That might not be. I don't drink bleach, folks. I don't drink bleach. Ah! So this little bob here is kind of the gauges the water levels. It just floats up there, and that's what turns it off and on when you run out of juice. How did I get this thing out of here? I just want to take it out so I can wipe it down. Nice and easy. And yeah, I don't feel like this needs a super thorough cleaning, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Because I actually didn't do it the last time I changed the filter. So I want to make sure I get it this time. So you got that part, and then the cage that holds the wick. And that comes in 2 parts. So I'm gonna wipe that down as well. And that seems to be a little bit dusty, but wipe. I don't know how much wiping is interesting, so I'll probably cut here and come back when I've got this all. Oh yeah, you got some dust there. So I've got it all wiped out really nice. I dumped out the water and rinsed it, so we should be good to go. Now what do I like about this? It's got casters on the bottom, so when it's filled with water and all set up, it's really easy to move around. It's pretty simple to put together. It does feel pretty cheap. Like this plastic does feel cheap, but wasn't very expensive and it covers the whole house, so I guess. And it does work, so the feel though, it just doesn't feel like a quality product. I'm just wiping the outside a little bit. So, what you want to do on it's got nicely clearly marked front. That is your front. You want to take your little bob guide, stick it in there, and you've got all these little, I don't know, nipples or whatever you want to call them on there. You want to put this in between the bottom nipple and let's see, I guess it's between the first and the second set of nipples. It sounds weird. Then we have this part, and I'm not gonna lie to you, this cage is kind of a pain. I had quite a bit of difficulty getting this thing off because the plastic, the way they put it on there, I found it very difficult. I'm gonna open this filter up. I'm sorry, I keep calling it a filter. It's a wick. And this is what it looks like. So you got all these, I don't know, not quite a honeycomb, but I don't know what else I'd call it. I don't know what it is, if it's paper or what. But you just line it up in here. It only fits one way. I don't think there's any difference between the sides. It seems to be the same. And then you put the top on. And I'm guessing it's going to go back on here fairly easily, is my guess. And there's just these little tabs. There's one here, and 3 up at the top. So 1 on each side, 3 at the top. And the issue I had yesterday when I was taking this apart was, maybe it's not going to go back easy. Dang it. The issue I had yesterday was the side tabs. The tabs up top came off no problem, but those side tabs did not want to come off, and it wasn't fun. see, what's the deal, dear? Why don't you want to go in here? You know, difficult. Here's what it looks like in the picture. Am I doing that right? I don't know that I'm doing it right. Yeah, that seemed to lock in. I think that's it. There we go. I was putting it on upside down. Ay, ay, ay. Phew. Alright, so then you turn it around until you see where it says front. Some little strings coming off. And then you just slide this. There's a couple of ridges. I'm not sure what you call it, but it kind of just locks into place. I shouldn't even say lock. It's kind of just a friction fit. And so pull up a little bit, it doesn't come out. Pull up with any amount of strength, it will, but you know, there's just enough resistance there so you know that you've got it in the right spot. Now, all you do is add some water. And of course, wait. So before you can get it running, you have to wait, I think it's 30 minutes or so, to give it time to absorb the water all the way up to the top of the wick. I think it's roughly 30 minutes. I've never sat there and really timed it. I think that's what I read. Add 2 teaspoons for every 1 gallon of water. All right, so 2 teaspoons or either 2 capfuls. So we got that, and so this holds roughly 3.5 gallons. So I'm gonna put 2, 4, 6, 7 teaspoons of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Close enough to me. Then we'll just add some more water. Be right back. And I am not using distilled water here, even though that's what the label says. This is just from the faucet. Plain old tap water. I probably should. It would save the filters or the wicks. But I just can't do that added cost. I can't do bottled water to fill this thing on 3.5 gallons every couple days. Alright, so it's got big bold line there, says do not fill above this line. And you know what? I know what you're thinking. What'll happen if you fill past that line? What'll happen? Well, I'll tell you what'll happen. It'll spill out into the floor is what's going to happen. So, don't do that. Get it right up to it though. Alright, so now we just sit and wait for that to wick up all the water. Still dry up here. It's actually wet right here already, so it's it does go pretty quickly. Right there's wet, here's wet, that's still dry. So we need to give it a little bit more time. It'll be good to go. While we're waiting, I'll put the lid back on, and it just sits on top of it like so. I'm not going to turn it on just yet, but if I hadn't filled up the water, you fold this down. Can you see it? So this just opens up. You add this little, what do you call this? Like a funnel. Stick it in there. And then you can pour your water in that way. That's how I usually go when I refill. I usually just keep it there, actually. I don't bother to take it out. Overall, I would say that this works pretty well. I'm fairly happy with it. The wicks don't last as long as I'd like, but I think that is more to do with my water quality than it does this product. It does feel cheap. This plastic just feels cheap, although it looks fairly nice. It's designed and styled like a piece of furniture. I think that's pretty cool. The top has a faux marble, which I don't think I showed you. See that? So it is a nice little thing for a planter or whatever. And that's what I pretty much just use this for. I throw a couple plants on there, push it in the corner. It matches with the rest of my decor. So overall, happy with it. I would purchase it again. Once, let's pretend like that's all ready and set to go. Just turn on the power, push this button to set it just cycles through. So 25 being the lowest, 25% humidity, 30 goes up in 5 increments of 5. If you get up to 65, that just means it runs nonstop. The fans will never turn off. So I keep it at about 45 these days, and then this one adjusts the fan speed. So it starts at, I think, F1, and it'll go up to 9, I believe. I find 3 is a good place to be. It seems to push enough air out without being too noisy. So I usually just keep it there. Now, I don't know why it says CF, change filter. I already changed the filter. You better update yourself. Okay, well that's it. That's my thoughts on the EP9800 Air Care Whole Home Humidifier. Thanks for watching.